We're live streaming. And our administrator has confirmed in person hearing. So we have a request for electronic participation first in Ms. Brickman. She wanted to participate virtually for a personal reason as she is out of state on travel. Senator Salim has requested to participate virtually for a personal reason as he's also on travel out of state. Senator Evans will participate virtually for a personal reason as he is in Richmond for Zoom Assembly meeting. Can I have a motion to approve Commissioners Briskman, Salim, and
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Well, now all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All passes unanimously. Welcome and thank you for participating in the meeting tonight. We also want to thank all members of the public that are here this evening and members of the public that may tonight. Very much for your engagement with us. Quickly tonight, we have a call for nominations. We have a number of business items, and we have a public hearing. One of agenda item number 8 is public comment. And just a reminder, we have a closed session at the end. We have my objective is to get the room is with a public discussion within 2 hours. So we'll see how we do. So did we receive any public comments this month?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we did not receive, apart from the public comments related to the work plan, and we'll talk about those a little bit later, because we do have a public hearing a little bit later, but we did not receive any general public comments for this meeting.
Okay, great. Look forward to hearing. We got our November 6 minutes before us for action. I have a motion to approve the minutes. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? So that unanimously in the room.
Being
One abstention. Yeah. All right. So Jody, that's it. All right. Anyway, no, just kidding. Now, we have to do a roll call first for those participating. Brickman, any comments on the minutes? How do you vote?
I'm sorry, this is for the minutes from the last meeting?
Yep.
I think I need to abstain. I wasn't there.
And one abstention. Senator Evan?
Aye.
Aye. And Senator Salim?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The motion passes with a couple of abstentions. The next item is the consent agenda. Please introduce this action.
We do have one action on the consent agenda. It's to authorize me to execute a contract with AECom for zero emission bus technical assistance. Include support for the NBTC zero emission bus working group and related research and technical assistance. Funding for this was provided by a GRPT grant and already matched by pre-existing NBTC funds.
Consent agenda. So moved.
Second.
A second.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, not seeing any in the room. Roll call for this participate virtually. Ms. Brickman?
Aye.
Thank you. Senator Evan?
Aye.
Senator Salim?
Aye.
Thank you. So all those in favor in the room, unanimous consent. That's no abstentions and no negative votes. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is NBTC's FY 2025 audited financial compliance reports. We have auditors here from PA Mayors to give a presentation on the FY 2025 audit. Was met with the executive committee serving as the audit committee prior to this meeting and gave a detailed overview of the audit. Please note that there's a blue item for the audited financial reports. That's agenda item number 4. This is for the separately issued single audit report from the mayors and EBTC's federal grant activity, which was made yesterday. The mayors did not include that report with the list of audited financial reports as is normally done. As you know, we've not sent us forward delayed by the OMB until last week. Like Jericho and from Steiner from PB Master to present. Welcome. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dwight Baracker serves as the audit partner on the engagement for NBTC. Hunter Simmons, he serves as the in charge on the engagement. He's here on the day-to-day, handle the day-to-day activity of the audit. As Mr. Snyder said, we were able to meet with the executive committee beforehand to discuss the financial statements in detail, so I won't go into detail. I'll give a high overview of the financial statements and the items that PB Bears are responsible for. The financial statements that were issued on November 21st include 2 opinions that belong to PB Bears. Those opinions are on the financial statements themselves, and then 1 on internal controls of MBTC. Both opinions are unmodified. I have an opinion that we can issue as auditors, so a clean audit again this year. As the chair said, Mr. Chair said, this week we were able to finalize the single audit related to the federal funding that MBTC receives. Back in August, OMB issued draft guidance that allowed us to perform a majority of the work. Last week, they issued their final guidance. In that final guidance, nothing changed from what was in the draft guidance related to the programs we have to audit here at MBTC. So that opinion is also unmodified. Highest opinion we can issue as auditors. So I think Scott, his staff are being fully prepared for us when we came in to perform the audit engagement and another clean audit again this year. So take any questions if anyone.
Just brings it, we will on it and, really, great appreciation to you, Scott, Matt Johnston, and watching him for all your allocation models, grant management, internal controls, and the OMB. We mentioned not to leave out the OMB, complicated aspects of the audit. Are there any questions about the audit? Okay, can I have a motion to accept and authorize the distribution of MBTC's FY 2025 audited financial statements and compliance reports?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Thank you. Any discussion here in the room? Seeing any, we'll now do a roll call vote for those participating virtually. Ms. Briskman?
Aye.
You, Senator Evan,
Aye.
Senator Salim,
Aye.
thank you, and all those in the room, how do you vote? Aye. Aye. Any objections, any negative votes, or abstentions? Thank you very much. That item passes unanimously. Great work on the front staff. And thank you for being tough and very effective. Really need that. Appreciate it.
Certainly appreciate it, and thank you all for the time, and happy holidays.
Thank you. Same to you. So next we turn to remodel issues. With the model programs about Smedberg and Waldo. I was hoping you could give a lot of. First, we have a long-awaited recognition. Yes, recognition and growth, I would say, and the scripts are now very refined. Yeah. We're very much glad. So, if you were going to begin to say the contributions that Matt has made to us, to Armada, and to the region, to all the people who live in this region. It takes team effort with some of the minor metro issues he was involved with borderline phase 2, yard station, all great wins for Metro and for the region. You represent Northern Virginia, they represented Northern Virginia inclusive times for Armada during the pandemic. Definitely thankful for the way you advocated for all of you. Beyond that, stepping down will allow another jurisdiction chance to serve as principal director, telling of your ability to serve regional interests. We've been lucky to have you represent MBTC the last 6 years. Thank you for your commitment to ensuring that we have an efficient, safe, and financially sound metro system. As a reminder, we passed a resolution of commendation from that at a previous commission meeting. Now I'd like to open the floor. This is your chance. You ever wanted to say about Matt Letourneau? And I'm not dead. Sorry you're here. That's maybe why you didn't pay attention. Just kidding. And we do appreciate you've been incredibly active in seeing the Metro Board, and just the contributions are immense. Walter.
Yeah, I thank you privately. This is a public thank you as well, for the length of your service, the depth of your service. And, I still am running into things. It's like, oh, Matt took care of that. Or, you know, this really was something Matt championed and, you know, last year. So, you have incredibly big shoes to fill. And I know, your contribution to the Metro and really the Commonwealth, to NBPC has been remarkable. So thank you, man.
Other folks, yes, yeah, yeah.
Well, I thought you were gonna say incredibly long commute to get to the meeting. You went at that, but not only do you bring so much knowledge to us. I remember day one that I served on this commission and just learning the budget, you know it inside and out. You know the system and you truly are a servant leader. And absolutely have given above and beyond the expectations we have. So thank you for being an incredible regional partner and representative. Alma Mater.
Others?
I would just say succinctly, thinking through all the meetings and all the different issues that came up. The judgment on when to press for detail and when to let go. That is a skill that it is so important. Judgment for actions. Half of a term is one thing, the judgment all the way through the end is huge. They just make that.
Well, I'd like to present this resolution, maybe we do it on the day of.
All right.
Chair Snyder,
And then another chance to get even. Yes, please, yes.
thank you very much. I just need to brag a little bit on Supervisor Letourneau. It's no secret that we come from differing political parties and we don't agree on everything. But even after the first couple years in my first term, I knew that I could trust Supervisor Letourneau when it came to anything Metro. He always knew what he was talking about. He always came with the facts to our meetings, even though he is an incredibly busy person. And so I just want to say with a lot of respect, that thank you so much for your service. Thank you for representing Loudoun so well on the Metro Board, and thank you for all of your effort. I know that you worked so hard to make sure that things were going right. I remember the selections process for the new leader at Metro, and I watched you do all that work fairly closely, and I have to say with great respect that you did a great job and you deserve the utmost commendation. Thank you, Chair Snyder.
Another tough one.
An extra applause for your wife and family.
Yeah.
That's further west, forget it. No, I have to do it.
Okay, Matt, now it's your turn.
I won't belabor the point, but thank you all, very, very kind. Apologize, I had COVID and then we went on a Disney trip with the kids and I missed these meetings, but I appreciate you doing this. Walter, I have complete and total utmost confidence. You are a phenomenal leader, and I know that you will continue to represent all of us at METC. I think when I came on, we were going through this a little bit of a different way of doing the Metro board seats, which really was to try to make METC the regional body that gave the input to the Metro board member. and to get out of the mode of thinking of the Metro board member as a representative of one specific jurisdiction. Because quite honestly, for a long time, that's not how it was. It was, you know, Arlington and a Fairfax board member, so on. And I think all of us collectively made a commitment to do that. And so I just tried to go in there and think about it as if I was, you know, an Arlington County board member or a Fairfax County board member, and whatever issues you all have became mine. And so I am proud. I always want to say that you want to leave an organization better than when you entered it. I really had nowhere to go but up when I entered Metro in February of 2020, and get a derailment. So that far, I'm not gonna. But one of the most important things that the board does do is choose a leader, and we had to make some tough decisions in the middle of that with you know, who was the leader. But I think we did select well, and the whole team that came. And so I'm super proud of the Metro system today, and I hope I had some small part of it, but I know it will continue to be great. So thank you all.
Thank you. Much appreciated. All right, Paul and Walter. Paul's not here right now, so Walter.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give the report. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So there is a much more extensive report in the meeting materials that everybody's got. More information about the FY 2027 budget, preview of that, and also first quarter financial and performance results, and more information on rail modernization. So I'm just going to mention two primary highlights tonight. The first one, and it's that time of year, budget. So the GM is the proposed budget from the general manager for FY 27 is going to be released next week. And in our final preview that came to the board on November 20th, we heard about several key initiatives that are going to be featured in the budget, including rail and bus service improvements, initial steps towards rail modernization, and this is the new twist, two capital program scenarios. One CIP is going to be money if DMV moves, or in our case, SJ 28 is successful. And the other, a CIP program that assumes we don't get any additional funding. So also, Metro is assessing opportunities to improve weekday frequencies in the Blue Orange Silver Corridor and some peak period bus service in Virginia. So there will be some key decision points coming up, including a really big one is rail modernization on the Red Line, and the first option on our 8000 series rail car contract. So I think we all remember and know about the 3% cap. And we are back in the mode of adhering to the 3% cap. It was suspended with the rebaselining, but it will be enforced in FY 2027. Again, there are additional details in written materials, but we're working both at the board level of WMATA and also with our legislative partners, some of whom are here in this room, to ensure that there are no conflicts. And as always, we'll be opening a public comment period this winter for budget adoption in the spring. We will be talking about rail modernization. We've included written materials in our report, and we'll provide more information as it becomes available. So the second thing I'll mention is an operational issue. It's only 2 months away, but we are going to have the planned yellow and blue line track work between Pentagon City and National Airport. That is to support construction of the new entrance at the new east entrance at Crystal City. So there'll be 10 weekend shutdowns in total between February and June, and 3 of which will extend all the way to Potomac Yard. So we're working over the coming weeks to finalize shuttle bus plans and information to the public. Stay tuned for more information on that, but any assistance folks could provide getting the word out would be super helpful. So anyway, does anyone have any, well, actually, you're supposed to ask that.
You can take it over.
So if anyone has questions or comments on WMATA, thank you.
Next item are reports from insurance and WMATA committee at the state policy committee. I have to start with the WMATA master.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Action item 6A is authorize the executive director to send NBT's 2025 report on performance and condition of Kumada to the governor in the General Assembly. So we have two actions. That's the first of them. There's a short briefing last month. I think you mentioned no comments on that. Staff maybe received some minor feedback from partners, incorporated them, technical and administrative edits. The version that's in your materials this evening. With your approval tonight, this report will be submitted to the Governor, General Assembly, and the other stakeholders. This year's report satisfies state code requirements and details the Commission's support for a long-term sustainable funding solution for WMATA. The report documents the DMV moves and SJ 28 initiatives and continues to advance other Commission priorities, including managing labor cost growth, coordinated jurisdictional audit, and establishing a reserve fund. Working with the WMATA committee, NVTC staff will continue to examine these items in 2026 and look to include findings and recommendations in next year's report. Mr. Baker is available to answer any questions as our program manager. So it's over to you, Mr. Chair, to ask if there are any questions.
Thank you very much. Adam, do you want to summarize the few points in the report?
I think maybe in addition to what Committee Chair DeFranchi shared, I think that there's several areas that the commission has spoken about for a couple of years now, but I think we as staff want to dive more into. I think one of those is one he highlighted, which is managing labor cost growth. So I think that there's definitely some opportunities there, especially when it comes to overtime costs relative to peers. So that's something that we're diving into. There's also several kind of policy issues. Again, the jurisdictional audit is something we'd like to get over the line to have sort of a coordinated approach and also save Metro some administrative burden. So again, there's several opportunities that we're going to, continue to look into this next year.
There's other questions about the report. Seeing in the room, how about this first, any comments or questions? Senator Evan,
No.
questions about the Metro report? Senator Salim?
Nope.
So, entertain a motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Let's send NBTC's 2025 report on the performance and condition of WMATA to the Governor of the General Assembly. Did we get a motion in second?
Will you give me the honor of making the motion?
I'll second.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I
Aye.
asked for questions.
We get them to do it too. They vote.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that vote. Ms. Bricksman.
Aye.
Thank you, Senator Evan.
Aye.
That's the way.
Aye.
Thank you very much. So I heard the unanimous vote for accepting the report and moving forward. Thank you, Matt. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Now I'd like to turn it over to our Legislative and Policy Committee, Chair Kenneth Calgary, about some brief legislative updates. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So last month, the commission endorsed the DMV Moves Task Force resolution and the SJ 28 Joint Subcommittee recommendations. Since then, the WMATA Board of Directors and the Metropolitan Council of Governments Board of Directors met on November 17th and approved a resolution endorsing the entire DMV Moves plan. With these endorsements, we now move into the legislative phase of our effort to obtain long-term sustainable transit funding for the region. So that leads us to our 2026 legislative and policy agenda, which is included in your meeting materials. The agenda is largely the same as the version reviewed by the commission last month, with a couple of additions referencing NVTC support for the DMV Moves Task Force resolution and the final recommendations of the SJ 28 Joint Subcommittee, as endorsed by the commission at its November meeting. Similar to previous years, the legislative and policy agenda is divided into state priorities and federal priorities, with individual items categorized by theme. Themes on the state side include long-term sustainable funding that support Northern Virginia's transit needs, sound financial management and good governance, and future transit innovation and improvements. Themes for our federal activities include the Surface Transportation Reauthorization Act that supports transit, grant funding programs that enhance transit's future, and a policy and regulations that strengthen transit. We do have the VRE legislative agenda up for a vote later in tonight's agenda, and the MVTC legislative agenda does parallel and incorporate many of the same issues as VREs. As a reminder, once adopted, the agenda will guide MVTC's advocacy work at both the state and federal levels, ensuring staff can provide timely feedback to legislators, stakeholders, and partners as legislation is filed. Ms. Matthijs and our staff are available for any questions.
Any questions about the legislative agenda? Any questions on this, Briskman? Senator Evan? Senator Silly?
Nope.
I'll entertain motion. We have the 2026 legislative policy agenda before us for action.
So
We
moved.
have a motion to approve the legislative agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Karen.
Second.
Thank you, Lorraine. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, that's unanimous in the room. Let me ask Supervisor Briskman,
Aye.
Senator Evan,
Aye.
and Senator Saline.
Aye.
Thank you. That item passes unanimously. Eric, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the upcoming General Assembly starts on January 14th, which is right around the corner. We have our legislative liaison, Ms. Amy Perone Seibert, on the screen to give us an update on the General Assembly state of play. Ms. Seibert.
Hi, good evening, everybody. We'll give you just a brief update since I know you have a long agenda, but obviously, since we have met last, we have a new governor who is rocking right along, a new governor-elect, and they're working on getting all of their secretary positions in place, as well as transition teams and policy items, which has been really great. I know a lot of the policy teams have been meeting. I was appointed to the Transportation Policy Committee. We had our first meeting today, which went very well. And so we will be putting together sort of opportunities for the administration, things that they need to look out for and what they should expect in the 2026 session. So definitely talked about SJ 28 and DMV moves. Very well aware. Obviously, Nick Donahue is one of the co-chairs, as well as Tracy Baynard with MBTA and Marianne Radcliffe. Aptly led, which will be great for the Commonwealth. And like you said, the session starts on the 14th, ends this year on March 14th, so it's a long session. What we have 4 bills, I think, that are being drafted that will deal with all the transit funding issues that we've been talking about. So that will address WMATA, VRE, Northern Virginia Transit, as well as statewide. There are 2 different House versions and 2 different Senate versions that are in for drafting. So we're looking forward to getting those drafts back. And I know that Delegate Sickles and Senator Eben have been working really hard on all of that and trying to meet with the administration and all the leadership in both the House and the Senate to get their feelings about it and getting feedback. So that's where we are at the moment. Happy to answer any questions that anybody might have.
Who are members of the General Assembly wish to make any comments at this point?
Cool.
It's gonna be a hard sell, you know, maybe the fact that the budget difficulties, that there will be maybe problems funding Medicaid and the school re-benchmarking would help us argue for more dedicated funding for transportation. But this transportation bill is a pro-education bill. That's one of the main reasons we're doing it this way, is to raise money so that localities can spend their scarce resources on education and other priorities from their own general fund, and we can help relieve them of some of their other duties. Now, that's if we can get one of these bills, either one of these bills passed, through all the potential obstacles that are in front of us. How about that?
Good luck.
Thank you. We'll need it.
Can I just add?
Yes. Go ahead.
So, thank you, Delegate Sickles, for that. And I would just point out that the situation in Virginia is a little different than what's in DC and Maryland. So, the issues that you were just describing with basically disproportionate burden, right now being, borne by the general fund, both at the state level and at the local level. Is, not something you'll hear about, but DMV moves, but it's very much a Virginia issue. Very much appreciate you recognizing it.
Senator Evan or Senator Saline, have any comments you wish to make?
No, not at this time. I don't have anything to add.
I just had one question. A little bit on timing, and if you don't want to speculate, I just don't know Richmond as well to know, work on legislation might be occurring, but everything happens at the end in my estimation usually. But there might be an effort to unveil a bill that would be a starting point for conversations that could be earlier, just speculate. Do you have any sense of whether, typically this sort of thing happens where you would come to an effort at a proposal to start the serious conversation towards the beginning of session? There's a filing deadline, help me out if you have any, or tell me.
Well, any entity, interest group or whatever that has a complicated challenge like we have needs to start way before the session starts. So we've started that now. But I've talked to some important people about this and have a few more on the list that I need to talk to the head of the session. So everyone's going to know about this being the most important issue in Northern Virginia. I was on an earlier Zoom with Supervisor Briskman, and she announced that Loudoun County endorsed DMV moves. And so that was good news. And then I learned when I was reporting that back to Clark that he had been there, and Clark Mercer is going to go to every jurisdiction. They're going to ask Arlington to endorse DMV moves, Fairfax, et cetera, to endorse it. All these little things add up. More people will learn about it. And the big picture of what we're trying to do is to really do a little bit of tax reform while solving a big problem.
Great, thank you.
I would just add, this will be in the fall church legislative package. Yes?
We'll be waiting on that one. I think we got Marcus.
Yes, Larry.
If I could just get some clarity on something you said earlier about, is the idea that this would supplant the education funding that's being requested?
No.
Okay, just want to clarify.
It's like the opposite of that. You have to spend money on Fairfax Connector now that could be going to other purposes.
Understand.
So then if we can help pay for a connector, can spend money for other purposes, including, I just mentioned education because that tends to be what everybody campaigns on. That tends to be our most underfunded public expenditure. Most people think. Some people don't think that.
It's just elevating the need for transit and transportation.
It's solving the funding problem for transit, rail, VRE, and in the big bill, if it passes, some interstate highway money too.
Yes.
I mean, don't get sick, I really appreciate the logic here and the way the hard sell is evolving. There's also the good old argument that when we fund public transit, we keep this economy going, and with rising unemployment rates and all this, this is exactly the kind of investment that we should be doing for a ton of other purposes as well. I mean, basically for stimulus purposes as well. So I think that it is in that sense a straightforward argument. Thank you for the effort. I believe that we will be receiving our board meeting in December, presentation. I hope that we will be enthusiastically endorsing it. So,
A comment. I would just make a few. It seems to me it's it's impossible to meet our housing goals for this region without the system. Meet our climate goals without an effective transit system. It's impossible to really provide the kind of service that we want to our citizens safely without an effective transit system. And I view this absolutely in the way, delegate, that you're mentioning. I'm sure you're aware of these other absolutely positives that derive from the transit system, and not to mention the economy and the work that NVTC has done to demonstrate the importance of the transit systems to the state as well as to the region, so, and to the, of course, Northern Virginia. So big thank you to everyone involved in this process, to your leadership, Senator Evans' leadership, all of our generals, so thank you. And you know where it reaches, and please work here. Anything.
Get those 4 bullet points down, because I got to broaden my pitch. So those are all good points. I didn't want to take up all the time here, but those are good points. One of the somebody stood up at a meeting I was in the other day and said only 7% of our region gets to work on transit, and so we will hear that. That, you know, we need to be building more roads instead of providing more transit. And those arguments are key against that kind of thinking.
The other point I think Kate made is the amount of lane miles that you'd have to build in order to, what, do you recall what the number is?
So I don't recall the number. I know that Bury has spoke to the work that they provide, both on the 66 corridor and the 95 corridor, it moves enough traffic for an entire lane. But the other number I wanted to put out there, there's 2 million people in Northern Virginia that take transit every week. So there are 2 million people who are taking transit in Northern Virginia every week. Not everybody's taking transit to work. And so sometimes when you look at that journey to work data, it's not actually showing that people are taking transit. So we did a great overview, and we'll make sure last month's commission meeting, really talking about ridership trends. Sophie did a fantastic job. There's lots of great stories and data to tell this story. But the 1.5 billion in economic value to the Commonwealth from in general fund, and then the 2 million people that are moving every week, I think are some nice easy ones to remember, and we can give you more.
We need to make a card about this size.
I think we can do that.
Big letters.
Idea.
So
Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before we jump over to the federal report from Ms. Mattias, I did want to share a little glimmer of hope. Both WMATA and DAS were recently awarded Federal Transit Administration bus grants, a program funded under the IIJA. WMATA was awarded just over 50 million, and DAS will receive about 11 million for replacement buses under FTA's low no emission bus grant program. And DRPT also received 8.8 million to help purchase buses for rural transit systems. So bright note there, wanted to share. We're definitely trying to stay on track with some of the zero emission bus stuff, but I know this climate's a little bit more difficult, so at least something to get out of it. But Ms. Mattias, the federal overview.
And if I could, I did want to do a little talk just about our TISDAC update and the merit update. I know Director Robinson's not able to be here, but I did want to provide an update on some of the work that the state has been doing to re-examine the formula program that our local transit systems, and actually all the local transit systems around the Commonwealth. As I reported before, TISDAC, the body that I sit on, which is an advisory body to DRPT, has been providing a lot of feedback to DRPT over the process about a challenge of transparency and how quick the process was sort of rushed through. And last week at the TISDAC meeting, we did have an action that requested the Commonwealth Transportation Board delay implementation of any changes to the merit program until June. of this coming year to allow more examination time. So that information has been shared with DRPT. And I did connect with Ms. Robinson. There is a CTB meeting on Tuesday. There is a merit update on that agenda, but the materials will not be provided till tomorrow. So I do not have any information on how CTB or DRPT are planning to proceed with this. But I do greatly appreciate all the local systems either signed on to a Virginia Transit Association letter or wrote their own articulating the concern. I want to be very clear. It's not necessarily that the process or the new formulas that folks have a problem with them. It's just that they were moved so quickly that people don't understand them. So this is more about a question of timing. Just a little bit of historical context. Typically, changes to the DRPT formulas are done over a year to 18-month process with day-long workshops. This was pretty much provided to TISDAC for the first time in late July, and we pretty much just had like 90-minute webinars. It's been very difficult for us to engage with industry to understand. So again, we're hoping for some good news, but I don't know yet until we see what is going to be presented to the Commonwealth Transportation Board as to what's happening. So I did want to provide an update. It's a little bit of real time. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have a better sense of what's going to be happening at CTB next Tuesday. It was a workshop item, not an action item, I should say, at CTB. There are some updates, federal updates included in your materials. I did have the opportunity today to hear both FTA Administrator Molinaro, as well as the ranking member of the House Transportation Infrastructure Committee, Representative Larson, at an event for the American Public Transportation Association. Both of them were talking about the need for a surface transportation reauthorization action next year that will include transit. There were some rumors that came out through Politico that the administration may want to pull transit funding out of the Highway Trust Fund. That was immediately responded to by both the Republicans and the Democrats in the House, saying that's a non-starter. I heard that again today. I also heard from the administrator from the Federal Transit Administration that they have every interest in pursuing a reauthorization proposal that includes funding for transit. So again, we have to watch that space, but I know that's something that kind of hit the Politico space, and so it was good to hear about that today. The other thing I did want to highlight, and it's great because the delegate did lift up, we have our legislative forum coming up a week from, or 2 weeks from Monday, the 15th. I'm a little off on what dates it is. On Monday, December 15th, we have a fantastic panel. Several folks here are going to be on one of them as well as the other. We do have an overview panel from a number of transit agencies, as well as a conversation about DMV moves and SJ28 with many of the players, including Delegate Sickles and Senator Evan. So we have a fantastic RSVP list. I heard it's something like 230. I just want to tell you, about 2 years ago, we were barely getting 100. So we were obviously the place to be. And so it should be a what's that?
It's obviously March. I tend to draw a crowd, especially when we propose to raise taxes.
I know it's going to be a fantastic session. I do look forward to seeing many of you there. Again, it's going to be a fantastic. The other thing I did want to highlight was we just now have save the date. We are planning on having a legislative reception in Richmond on Thursday, February 5th. For those who are participating in VML, Local Government Day, that's the same day. It's going to be at the Commonwealth Strategies offices, which is on here on North 8th Street, from 4:45 to 7 p.m. This is in lieu of a commission meeting. We will not be having a February commission meeting. We will be having a reception down in Richmond. So I wanted to draw your attention to that. And when it comes to either of these events, obviously let us know if you plan to attend. I think that for this legislative event, if they want transportation support, I have an email. Okay, Rhonda will follow up with specific information for the commissioners when it comes to the legislative forum. And thank you. That's what I have.
And then he's not wanting to know if we plan to attend. So, excellent. Thank you. Commissioners have any questions or comments? So tonight we have staff presenting the preliminary FY 2027 general administrative budget, 2026-2027 work plan. Both will come back for action at the January
So what I'd like to do is draw your attention. We do have, there's going to be slides up on the screen, but you also have a handout in front of you. We're just going to give a brief overview of the budget. It is being presented this month. We have an opportunity, actually an ongoing opportunity for public comment. I don't know if we've had anybody come to testify this evening. A public comment period is open until the 19th of December. But just to give a little bit of background, then I'll allow Scott to talk about the numbers. In general, when we look at our budget for this year, it is very much focused on retaining the skilled staff that we have, making sure that we're meeting obviously the priorities of the commission, and addressing some key cost drivers that Scott's going to talk about. So we are currently looking at a budget that is supporting the work we are doing now. If for any reason something changes in the General Assembly, we obviously would be coming back with anything modified with a amended budget later this year. But this is very much supporting the great work that we're doing now, and really, in all honesty, the importance of keeping the fantastic people or recruiting the new people that are necessary to keep the mission going. But Scott, do you want to talk a little bit about the expenditures and the drivers?
Next slide, please. Okay, so this slide's a high-level overview of MVTC's G&A expenditures. And expenditures can be basically rolled up into 4 major categories. And that includes salaries and related payroll costs, rent, contracted services, and other expenses. And as expected, salaries and related costs make up most of the budget at about 75%. Contracted services equal 11%. And this includes technical support for the Commuter Choice Program, research support, legal, HR support, auditing, and state legislative services. And then the fixed lease for MVTC's office space is 10% of the budget, with other expenses totaling around 4%. Next slide, please. If you go on the revenue side, most of the funding for the budget is from revenue taken off the top of state assistance that MVTC receives for jurisdictions. In fiscal year 26, we expect to receive about $314 million of the state assistance, and that would be approximately 1.2% of that would be directed to MVTC's budget. Local jurisdictions also provide direct contributions to MVTC's from their own budgets, their general funds, which equals about 6% of the total revenues. Commuter Choice revenue makes up 13% of the total, and this is funding to support the direct costs in carrying out the program, including payroll and outside technical support. Other revenue, which includes other project chargebacks and interest earnings, makes up about 4%. This includes grant revenue for the intern program, the Envision Route 7, and staff support for VRE. And finally, there's a carryover of available surplus, which is included as a source of revenue. And that's a result of positive budget variances in prior years above our minimum operating requirements. Next slide. So this slide is a summary of the expenditures from the full budget document, which is included in your meeting materials. That document shows this information in greater detail and includes notes for most line items. For this slide, I plan to only highlight the more significant changes. So overall, the bottom line, the proposed budget shows an increase in total expenditures of $141,000, which is a 2.9% increase over the current fiscal year. And this is the second consecutive year with an increase below 3%. Moving up to the first line, is just salaries and wages. We show a 2.8% increase. Staff levels are constant with a provision for cost of living and merit increases for existing staff. Next, we have benefits and other payroll costs, and they're expected to increase about 6.2%. And this is mainly due to an increase in health insurance costs and also retirement contributions. Administrative costs are shown in total with some detail below and increased 3.6% overall. Rent, which is the largest individual line item next to salaries, is based on our fixed lease for MVTC's office space with a budgeted increase of about 4%. Other than that, there really isn't much to comment on administrative expenses. Contract services, that shows a 1.7% decrease overall. And included in this category is outside support for the commuter choice program, which shows a slight decrease as staff continues to rely less on consultant support. Next slide, please. So similar to the previous slide, this is a summary of the revenue included in the proposed budget document. Local contributions, which make up of the local share from state aid received by NVTC and direct local contributions. And that is budgeted to increase by $155,850 or 4.1%. Interest is based upon prior earnings and our best guesstimate of future rates. Project chargebacks decreased 14.7%. And that's due to a decrease in funding for the Envision Route 7 project management as our state and related local match project fundings for that program are being fully utilized. There is also less anticipated funding from the commuter choice program. And as I mentioned about appropriated surplus, carryover from favorable budget variances, and that's expected to increase about 115,000 this particular fiscal year. Next slide. This takes us to our work program. Kate?
Yeah, so again, just as Scott was presenting, we've identified a proposed budget that really does keep our costs very low. We've kind of we've got expect no more than a 2.9% increase. And reality is it's to continue all the great work. This is very small, I recognize, on this piece of paper and in the slide. But this is basically the work plan that we've actually included as an attachment, really highlighting all of the work that our staff are doing to support the commission, the various committees and the work that we have going on. And so again, this is just a highlight. Some of these things get buried behind the scenes sometimes, but we do obviously strive to provide, obviously a high quality and timely work to benefit the work of this commission. So that's what we have. But I did want to, obviously have any chance for questions because this is just a proposed budget right now. We're not coming back until January to seek approval. But this is just the preview. More materials I think are included in your written document. So we're happy to take any questions.
Do you want to run any questions tonight? Feeling none, keep in mind the village commissioner to please reach out between now and January 8th because questions or comments on the budget. And it will be on the agenda for discussion. January 8th. No comments there. We move on to hearing. Should we comment on the education work? Each year we probably three of them. One day it was one of the
we did have 2 written comments that were submitted in advance. We will add those to the record because public comment period is still open until the 19th. I just want to check with staff. Do we have anybody signed up for public comment? We do not. So, but indeed, the ability to provide comments is still open on our website, novatransit.org, through November 19th. December 19th. I don't know what month it is right now. Sorry.
Summarize the written comments.
I can't. I do not have them right in front of me. I do believe one was related to submitted by an individual who was a VRE rider, but I feel bad because I know our VRE folks are here. I think it was probably a comment about service. And the other one was actually recommending that the front of our work plan provide a little bit more information on who NVTC is. And so just a little bit of background information. So the only 2 public comments we've received thus far.
And ask again, does any member of the public wish to address us on the work plan? And not seeing any and no one signed up. Thank you very much. So moving right along. And again, we want to thank the public that sits in such a which we thank the public that provides input. Whenever they're that input, and so we take it all seriously because we're working with you. So thanks for that. Next item on the agenda is agenda item number 9, reports from the chair of the private advisory. Massachusetts Place Regional Fourth Charity Approach is fine. Includes updates on the Vision Route 7 York project. 66 needs assessment staff are available, which makes out the. Can you give a quick summary of the Route 7 BRT?
So I do believe that we've just highlighted the public engagement that concluded. We actually have a really nice, I think I have a really nice overview in our executive director report as well. So there was public engagement along Route 7 on the southern terminus from Alexandria up to Seven Corners. And so we had a public meeting, open house, as well as other engagement with folks along the corridor. So that's where we are. We're just in the information collection stage and hope to do more public engagement in the spring.
All right, so you guys 66 needs assessment.
I may defer to what's.
Yeah, so we last spoke to the commission also last spring. We've been very busy behind the scenes and essentially with our consultant team have updated some of the data collection to reflect the ridership rebound that was seen with return to office orders in March and April. Our held a workshop and worked with our jurisdictions on assembling project potential project lists for the corridor. Right now, we're sort of in the next 2 months going to be putting that together. We anticipate having a pretty significant update at the February program advisory committee. I mean, at that meeting, there's also an opportunity to kind of have the larger, that material can kind of inform some potential policy conversations that could be around that program. So we're sort of working towards that and then more information in the spring.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments on the program advisory committee report? Okay, not seeing any. We turn now agenda item number 10, Virginia Railway Express. You want to see Richards. I have to do it. Thank you. You're the CEO report, you know, the operations board chair. Sarah Bagley, who has been very, very busy, will present the action items. All right.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioners, thanks for your time. Appreciate thanks for having me. I'll start with on-time performance. I'm happy to report last one we had an on-time performance of 88%. Very close, but not quite close enough to our 90% target. Compared to the same period last year, that was 75%. So we're doing much better and on a very good trend. Recently, we had 3 100% days, meaning no delayed trains. 3 of those in a 10-day period, which used to be not rare for us, but has become so. But we're getting better and making great strides and improvements on our on-time performance of late. I will offer that many of our delays, probably about half of them, are related to train congestion on the right of way, largely to other trains out of slot, we'll say. Next, ridership. 7,236, just over 7,200 ridership, ADR, annual average daily ridership compared to the same period last year. A measurable increase at the 6,800 level, almost 6,900 level last year. So a very good increase, all affected, of course, by the recent shutdown, which ended shortly into November. Our year to date in ADR is about 9,500 riders, and very good, tracking well, at least for the year for right now. I'm happy to report some good news for us. Monday, December 1st, we stood up a new train. We started a new train on the Manassas line. It is the first time in 10 years that's been done at BRE, and we're very excited for that. There's no playbook for that one. We learned a lot and did a lot, and it went smoothly. In conjunction with that delivery of the new train set on the Manhattan New Service on the line, we also opened Seminary Yard in Alexandria. Started service in that yard, which marks our 3rd facility. Used for midday storage. It will help us tremendously. It's transformational in the sense of how we do our service and how we do our midday storage as we exit the Amtrak facility at Ivy City Coach Yard in the district. Also help us with the forthcoming changes in schedule for support of the Transforming Rail in Virginia Long Bridge project. So stay tuned for more information. We're working with our partners there to finalize schedules. On more of a social note, I'll offer we have on Saturday the Alexandria Scottish Walk Parade. It's gonna be a lot of fun with our float and Santa trains on December 13th. We're hoping that you will join us. It is a lot of fun. As my friend Mark says, kids love trains and kids love Santa. What better than Santa trains? So very excited. So thank you for that. Appreciate your time. That's my report.
So, or do commissioners have any questions for Dallas? Okay, seeing any hands or hearing any? Next, we turn to VRE Operations Board Chair Sarah Bagley to introduce the VRE action items.
All right, thank you, sir. So for action item 10B tonight, we have resolution 2586. This authorizes the acting VRE CEO to execute a contract with Keolis Rail Services Virginia LLC of Manassas, Virginia for train operations and maintenance services in an amount not to exceed $179,179,190. For the base period of the contract, contract extensions and options will be brought back to the Operations Board for referral to the commissions for approval. Both VRE's two current train operations and maintenance contracts are set to expire at the conclusion of the current fiscal year on June 30th, 2026. This action will consolidate operations and maintenance services into a single comprehensive agreement. I'm gonna move through, I think, the action items together. So, okay. So for action item 10C, we have resolution 2587, which will approve the VRE 2026 legislative agenda and authorize the VRE CEO to actively pursue the elements set forth in the document. There were no significant changes made to the version presented at last month's commission meeting. Item 10D, and then it says 10F. Is it 10B or 10F? D. Okay, so for 10D 2588, we'll authorize the acting VRE CEO to submit on behalf of the commissions a VRE application for design of the broad run lead to the I-66 Commuter Choice FY 2027-2028 funding program. VRE staff have identified the VRE broad run lead design phase project for a $5 million capital funding request to the Commuter Choice program that supports and implements planned service enhancements consistent with the VRE system plan, as well as the Transforming Rail in Virginia initiative. The written materials provide more information about the project. Finally, item 10G, resolution 2589, which will accept VRE's FY 2025 annual comprehensive financial report and associated information from the auditors and authorize the VRE CEO to distribute the report. PB Mayer completed the audit of VRE's FY 2025 financial statements and has issued an unmodified opinion. There it is, right? The opinion letter states that the VRE financial statements in all material respects fairly and accurately present the financial position of the organization. This opinion is the best outcome of financial audits, just twice for good measure. The auditors met with the VRE Audit Committee on November 21st, 2025 to review the statements and their opinion, which was followed by a presentation at the full Operations Board meeting. That concludes the VRE action items presentations.
Very much. Do commissioners have any questions? I'm not seeing any. We can post on for VRE changes. Does anybody check that approach? Okay, so moving to resolution 2586.
Second, right?
I'm sorry.
We need a second. Need a motion.
So it's
Oh, yeah. So do we have, who made the original motion? Fox, were you the motion?
You did.
Am I the original motion? Okay, I mean, I'm happy to be the movement. Yeah, I don't know that I phrased it that way, but I'm happy to be the movement. Second, sorry.
to move the resolutions in the block. Just to review, that's resolution 2586, resolution 2587, resolution 2588, and resolution 2589 that Sarah discussed. So I have a motion to move approval in second. No any discussion.
Mr. Chair, just a little remark on the side. The Keolis contract is a very big deal. I mean, Mr. Acting CEO, you forgot, I believe, to tell us also that you told us that we have now a 10-year record of zero accidents or zero safety problems at our maintenance facility for a railroad. So that's a remarkable, testament to a culture of very good maintenance and to a culture of safety. But also it gives you an idea of the care that the corporate culture of VRE has put into that for 10 years or more. So this was a very long procurement process and very thorough. And I have to say, we could appreciate the effort and the details, etc. And it's not just, the Keoli is the incumbent provider. But this was really very competitive, and I appreciate the focus on trying to get the best and most predictable set and arrangement for VRE looking forward. This is important also because a lot of things will be changing for VRE as we go, and there is a very ambitious CIP program. VRE is growing to be a real railroad with its own tracks that really can move people without having to ask somebody else for permission every single time, etc. So having a good backbone, a good infrastructure in the back that supports technical, supports the railroad is extremely important, even more important today than it was 10 years before. So thank you for this work. I know that a lot was at your desk.
Thank you, Dennis.
Very much. Any further discussion? Okay, yes, go ahead, please.
I just want to add, I want to echo those comments, and I know the Ops Board chairs the Ops Board has also done a great job with everybody. Clearly, we have a staff who are very capable, competent, and successful at managing the respective parts of it. I think the Keolis contract, the thing that was maybe most surprising to me is I think the cost going forward is one that I think is competitive, and I think I was very concerned about the situation we were in with bidders, et cetera, that we wouldn't end up at that juncture. And if we have, I think maybe it's a statement about, Keolis for sure. They're focused on keeping this business, but also I think a statement about how well we've managed that relationship and the confidence, and maybe the competence that they perceive in that relationship to address any concerns that come up, as well as how do we continue to grow what is truly going to be far more than a commuter railroad. We see that our 2050 plans include that, and with the investments that Virginia's made and some states across the board, that that's a reality that we'll be able to achieve those. I just wanted to share that and those comments.
Thank you so much.
I have a question.
Larger, expanded. Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. The Keolis employees, are they unionized or are they allowed to unionize?
Yes.
Well, it's,
Labor is union,
yes.
management is not.
Sorry?
Did you hear that? Yeah, so go ahead.
The labor employees, our crafts, if you will, are union employees, and management is not. They are under railroad retirement as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Other questions? Thanks for incredible. It's really exciting to see where you are. Great. All right. Not seeing any more comments or questions. Let's do a roll call for those participating virtually. Roger Briskman, you voted about the reactions.
Aye.
It's a positive. Senator Salim.
Aye.
Thank you, Senator Evan.
Aye.
Okay, everyone, people in the room, how do you vote? You vote in favor of the floor and VRE resolutions? Aye. Any abstentions or any votes? Thank you. That item passes unanimously. Thanks a lot. Well, Sarah, it's some more.
All right. So tonight we have VRE Chief Financial Officer Mark Schofield with us to give an update on the progress in developing the FY 2027 budget. Budget will be presented to the commissions for action at the respective January 2026 meetings. The floor is yours, Mr. Schofield.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair, and good evening. As she mentioned, we will be presenting a recommended budget to the Operations Board later this month. Hopefully they will recommend it, and then we will bring it back to you in January. Once it has your approval, then it will go to the individual jurisdictions to be incorporated into their budgets for next year. Just to hit a couple of the highlights, right now, as of what we presented to the Ops Board last month, Our projected budget for FY 27 is $115.3 million, which is only $100,000 above the adopted budget for this year. By the time we bring it back to you in January, I'm hoping we can knock that down even a little bit further. But I will say that most of the main variables are pretty much locked in. We have largely completed our public participation process on the proposed increase that we have to the passenger fares. We have held in-person public hearings. We've posted a little explanatory video on the website, and we've been collecting comments, mostly electronically, a couple of telephone calls. The comment period will stay open through the middle of this month, and we will provide a written compilation of all the comments to both the operations board and then to the commissions. We've heard a little bit of opposition to the proposed increase, mostly related to issues of our delays and congestion, things like that, not actually sort of related to the increase in the price that's being proposed. And a little bit of opposition due to sort of the strain on the federal government employees during the recent okay. And then we had a few people that actually told us that they thought it was a good idea. So I appreciate it. The second one, as I think we've discussed, we were not able to do our normal annual master agreements survey this year, again, because of the shutdown. It was agreed, we were directed by the operations board to use the results from last year. So we'll be applying the same results from last year to the same level of jurisdictional contribution, because we're also not proposing that will change. So every jurisdiction's contribution to VRE in the coming year will be exactly identical to what they've contributed this year. And then, as we already discussed, and I appreciate the comments from Takas and Dan, you guys have just approved the O&M contract. That was a big uncertainty in the budget, and it's coming in very much at a level that is in line with what we're doing currently. So that's a big relief as well. We are just ridership very briefly. We are sort of getting whipsawed a little bit. We've had the RTO and our ridership has gone up. We've had the shutdown. It's dropped. They've returned, it's gone up. Now we're going to be doing the work windows come January, so we do expect to see a decline there. It's just a challenging environment to try to project the ridership. We do have an ADR in the budget for next year right now of about 9,300. I do expect we'll sort of be evaluating that as things go along, and when we come back for next year's amended budget, it probably will be something different. Shifting very briefly to the capital program, those of you who have been engaged with VRE for a long time know that we had a period, especially in, I would say, the late 2010s, where we were doing a lot of planning and not a lot of constructing. And that period is long gone. And we've wrapped up at our construction at Manassas Park. We're now kicking off the construction at Alexandria. We had the groundbreaking just recently. That was a great event. We'll be kicking off work soon for the new yard in Alexandria. Later this year, Broad Run expansion out in Manassas, and our Crossroads employee welfare building and employee parking. Probably towards the end of FY 27, maybe the very beginning of FY 28. Franconia Springfield, which I know is important to this group, and also Crystal City, which is important to this group as well. So lots and lots of really good stuff. And then sort of beyond the horizon of the current of the 27 budget, but not too far beyond, Leland, Bathlick, Manassas, and then of course the big one, LaFont. That being sort of a cornerstone project that's necessary to make the whole Long Bridge investment work. So we look forward to sort of giving you a little bit more information on the capital program when we're here in January, but I would be happy to take any questions now. So thank you.
Thank you. The commissioners have any additional questions for VRE? Sarah, you were going to mention briefly the search committee.
Yeah, before I do, I just want to reiterate what Mark said. It might have gotten lost a little bit. There's $100,000 increase in the budget. That's like not $1 million. That's not a percentage. I mean, so it's really impressive work, I think, that has gone into keeping their budget essentially flat year over year at a time when that's really just impossible to do. I know when he said it at the ops meeting, I sort of did a double take. So just wanted to lift that up and acknowledge the work that goes into that. And yeah, we'll bring you back hopefully an approved budget in December. In terms of the search committee update, we have hopefully concluded our work. And have our BRE search committee actually met with the full ops board to give its recommendation in our last meeting in November. And later this evening, hopefully, I will be sharing that recommendation with all of you. So stay tuned.
Mr. Chairman.
As I said before, it's been very interesting. Yes.
Question for Dallas or Kate. I think we need to beef up our PRTC. I don't know PRTC. So we need to beef up our outreach, or, you know, these things for what we're going to be doing for Western and Eastern, Prince William County, Stafford, Fredericksburg, and Spotsylvania, should these bills pass, when these bills pass, because that, you know, we don't really know how much they know, and what are we gonna have, what do we have now? What are we gonna have if one of these bills were to pass? That's what we really need.
Well, if I could just speak on some of the, actually, even one of the questions that Mr. Richards may not even know yet, but one of the questions we're gonna be asking our general managers on our panel at the legislative event, and there actually is an incredible RSVP list of members from the southern jurisdictions that are attending, is both to him as well as to Bob Schneider of OmniRide, is if we get this big funding, what does that mean for your system, and tell us about it. So we're actually inviting all of the systems to be talking about what this means. That said, behind the scenes, we do a lot of engagement. I know already with VRE, a lot of engagement. I know even at the ops board, that's been a conversation in terms of working with the PRTC and OmniRide. I've been working very closely with Bob Schneider there as well for his outreach. But yes, it's always going to be an ongoing thing. But we do have an opportunity, and very much the public domain, for both VRE as well as OmniRide to be sharing their vision for what will be accomplished when they get this.
Once the bills get introduced and they have a number on them, they're complicated to draft, so they've been in drafting for a month, and that's complicated. But once we have them in draft and people can refer to a number, and we can hand them out on the train, right? Are you on train? This is what, can you do that? Can you hand out materials?
QR code, we'll send them right to it, right?
Okay, well, the riders need to know how their lives are gonna be improved if we were to get this money. I know a lot of it still is dependent on doing all the capital we need to do to you know, separate, to keep us out of the freight railroad path. But
I will just add briefly, if I may, Chair, that our system plan 2050 really spells a lot of that out. If you turn to that, there's a lot of ways. It's really about not the footprint of the service. I mean, but in addition to the footprint, it's the frequency, reliability of the service that.
Yeah, so that everybody knows about that out there? I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
We're spreading the word. We have a traveling road show. They were there last week.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get more out.
More information. I think the point of telling this, we need to get our messages very clear out to a lot of folks throughout the region. This will forever be the Sickles card.
There you go, Chair.
That's, go ahead.
So yeah, I have a question that's going to be very much relevant to the elected officials in NBTC and PRTC. How much are we using this fiscal year in federal pandemic relief funds?
Probably a little less than 30 million.
So about 30 million. When does that run out?
Probably the end of fiscal 28.
Yeah, good.
No, and so yes, and to that dialogue, I think part of BRE's goal moving forward should also be communicating beyond the people on the train, but to the people in the cars, you know, in traffic, or to the people who don't necessarily need the train, but benefit from it, from the people who are using it. So I think moving forward, you know, to your point, especially if it's going to be, you know, legislation and other taxes and other funding shifts, we need to get across not just to those, you know, 9,000, 10,000 riders. Here's how it's benefiting. We need to get it to people who are taking the bus, who are driving places, that this legislation that continues to fund and expand, you know, train service is actually improving your quality of life as well. So I agree with you completely, and I just hope that we can expand the audience that we're speaking to, because the train is sort of a fixed point-to-point situation. It's not going to serve everybody, no matter how frequent and amazing it is. But we need to make clear to those people for whom it won't work, why it still has value, what it's doing.
Yeah, how many people that ride the train now know of your 2050 program? Could talk about it in some detail.
That's hard to estimate, of course, but we do broadcast it pretty clearly, mostly through the jurisdictions. We've been, but there's no reason we can't share it with those physically on the train. But Ms. Bagley makes a point, right? And we have it. It hasn't risen to the board level because it's within the authority. We've been doing media campaigns, right, to get the word out about VRE. On the weather, you know, with the weather and the traffic report, kind of working on these things that gets the VRE logo, the brand, the information about what we do. And then it's getting the hook in them, because we found that people, once you get on the train, for instance, when there was, you know, the temporary shutdown on Metro, that people would come over and they would stay. They liked it. And that's what we need to do, is get those people on the train just once, and we can hook them. And that's been, we're looking at those campaigns and how successful they might be.
Yes. Sometimes in Northern Virginia, we can hardly appreciate two things. First of all, that the population in the southern part of Northern Virginia is rapidly increasing. And with that, it's also the economic activity, also the thinking of the local jurisdictions to actually do smart growth, bring housing, bring economic activity closer to infrastructure, etc. This is relatively recent. And the most important, I mean, if you ask me who is the biggest communications target audience here, it is our fellow elected officials along the lines of VRE. And I see a great progress right now, because they're dealing with something that has a plan, is reliable, has a very high dependability. What Virginia legislature, what the General Assembly has done in the last few years, and actually I have to say it's refreshingly bipartisan, is to keep the faith in Virginia's rail. I cannot overstate how game-changing this is already and how much it will be very soon. I believe that our general population begins to understand that this is infrastructure investment. I don't need to go to a 995 driver and tell them, well, welcome to the new congestion. I mean, the Washington Post had another one. We are ranking like top 19 or so in the nation or international. So I think that the critical part for VRE is to me, still the CIP, because this enables, it's not that VRE isn't producing the service, it's that there are objective obstacles to overcome. And just this news today, an additional train. This is not necessarily a lot more ridership, but a lot more of comfort. So people know that there is a train and they don't have to wait another hour or so. They would be able to ride the train in between. So, but you're right. I mean, this needs to be told, the story needs to be told again. And we know from this commission here how important this is when we went and made the case for Metro, right? So, yeah.
And also want to mention that the numbers that are going to be in the bill for VRE were given to us. So it's your fault. You're not asking.
Double it.
Double it.
I think this discussion underscores making streams to it. That would be some people. Visits community. You will part of that job is also because if you're stuck in traffic, move to you is an additional lane so that the guy in front of me is not in front of me anymore, over there. So this is something we need to spend some time on and really get right. In addition to making the case that what we're building here is not just what's here today, it's what's here tomorrow, and what will offer you options that you don't have today. It's not the traffic, so interesting that. So I think that's well taken, and thank you, Scott. Any other questions or comments regarding the matter? Okay, our next agenda item is a report of the Department of Rail and Public Transportation.
Thank you.
PT Director Tiffany Robinson was unable to attend tonight. Was on leave for the board child. Jan Monaco and Monica. Hey Jen, how you doing? Good to see you. So this is our chance, you know. Jen, thank you. Possibly for the up to you. Thanks for that note. So you know, we have some exciting news. On Tuesday night, our executive director Mathias was awarded the The board honors a woman who's an outstanding role model for the community. Transportation. WTSBC is the largest chapter of WTS, an international organization that promotes the transportation sector. Well, it's great. It's great. So, Kate, do you have any comments?
No, I did not have to do a speech on Tuesday night, but I am very humbled and someday I'll find out who submitted applications on this, but we had a great number of NBTC staff come out to the event. And Walter Alcorn was there as well. It was a wonderful evening. So, but it's wonderful because I can now do a switchback and do a celebration of one of our staff. You saw earlier Scott Calforth coming up. He's our CFO and has been for 25 years. So I'm going to turn that back over to celebrating 25 years of Scott. And Mr. Chair, I'd love to just continue into my executive director report.
Can I just start? a little bit?
Nice job.
So I did get a chance to go to the awards, but Jen gave that the most applause of any awardee. So it's just this was the big award. So congratulations.
Thank you. It was a very special event.
Well, and we are at a positive turning point, I think. Here, the work that's been done is laid a foundation. It's a good it is the transit systems freshman. So it's up to us to finish building structure. No one is more important to achieve that.
So a couple things I wanted to highlight. Always love having a chance to highlight some of our things in the newsletter. This month, as we already mentioned, there was a groundbreaking in Alexandria for work that BRE is going to greatly benefit from. We also had an opening. It's a small little thing, but it's been really important. It's the second entrance at McLean Station. I was gonna say, sorry, I know there's lots of borderlines there. Anyway, and that was Computer Choice funded, so we're happy to see that open up. But anyway, there's lots of great things in here, including some overviews of our Route 7 outreach that I spoke about earlier, etc. So lots of great things in here. Couple of things of highlights, because I know the calendar gets interesting when we get into the new year. I will promise you right now, we will not be meeting on the first Thursday in January because that is New Year's Day and we are not going to do that. So our first meeting in January is actually on the 8th. And so I know materials were already sent. We had our calendar sent last month, but I just want to remind folks that our meeting is going to be on January 8th. And we're not having a February meeting because as I mentioned, we have the reception down in Richmond. We will have some committee meetings coming up, so those are going to start getting on the schedule. So somewhat in lieu of not having a February commission meeting, we do plan on having committee meetings, the WMATA and Legislative Committee meeting in January, and a PAC meeting a little bit later in February. And so those all will make sure they get on everybody's calendars.
Is the January 8th meeting just a pep talk for Mark Sickles?
If we want to have a little bit of time on that agenda, and Senator Upton as well, yes, we are happy to do that. I think, and actually, as we are members of the Virginia Transit Association, I would be remiss to not highlight the VTA Transit Day, which is on Monday, January 26th. That is a fantastic opportunity to engage and work, and they also do have a wonderful reception that evening. And sometimes the Northern Virginia delegation has an evening meeting, and often that's the one that's focused on transportation. So that's a great event for those who are not already down in Richmond to participate as a part of. So our financial reports, as always, are included in our materials, and that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Right, any questions for this? I'm not seeing anyone, not meeting to both sessions, it's about street personnel now. With any of those little, I believe we've made discussion for. Difficulties and fight. Not for working with chief spot, you know, this is.
Hey guys, I'm sorry. I really can't hear the chair or understand what's being said right now. Is there a better microphone or something?
We're moving into closed session.
Oh, we are? Okay.
Yeah, the whole tight.
Session, we would just notice in the public, what they can expect, it's on the screen, it's not that closed session. We will return to open session following the closed session. Is it okay? Just a second. Now I have a motion to enter into closed session. Motion's been made. In most of the facilities, Virginia Freedom of Information Act, section 2.2 has C7.1. So we want to get a transportation commission moves to the proposed measure. As to personnel matters concerned appointing commissions and executive directors and forms such application. Motion to be made. This is also for those petitions and the Superintendent Grossman. Yeah. Closed session. Thank you. Senator Emmett. Closed session. Senator Soli to go into session. Those here in the room, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair,
Thank
we
you.
weren't able to hear Senator Salim. Senator Salim, do you vote aye to join in the closed session?
Yes,
Oh, I just gave a thumbs up, but aye.
Thank you.
I vote aye as well.
Session.
We have very active speaker or microphones throughout the room, so when there's movement and talking in the other spaces, it's hard to hear.
So we've been advised by council that we can that we continue in open session. So the certification comes out in closed session. Here is the motion. Going to the Transportation Commission certifies that to the best of each member we have no signing. The just concluded closed session. One, all the public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under the Freedom of Information Act were discussed, and then two, in such business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed session be discussed or considered.
So moved.
Second.
There's, and this is our second. Yeah. That's fine.
I got it.
Okay, let's ask for those who are virtual participants.
Aye.
Aye, and Senator Salim.
Aye.
So I as well. Thank you, Supervisor Briskman and Senator Salim. And those in the room, how do those in the room vote?
Aye.
Any noes or abstentions? An item passes. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is, can I have a motion to approve the amendment to the executive director's contract as discussed in closed session? So moved.
Second.
So moved in second. Any further discussion? No. On the part of.
Thank you.
Aye.
Appreciate that, man.
You know
You're not sharing. Sorry.
No, I just felt it.
So, how do, Senator Salim, how does Senator Salim vote on the
Aye.
amendment to the executive director's contract?
Aye.
And
That was a
Supervisor.
yes on it.
So am I. In the room, all those in favor of the amendment to the
Aye.
executive.
Aye.
Closed session. Aye, as, are there any other abstentions? That item passes unanimously. The next item, drum roll, resolution number 2590 to appoint Peggy Cho to the community executive officer. The resolution also includes the employment agreement and authorizes the chairs to execute it on behalf of the commission. Is there a motion?
Second.
Sarah Bagman moves. Is there a second? Dan Stewart seconds. Is there any further discussion?
No.
You said no.
I will not prolong the meeting or the discussion, but this is sort of a significant action by the body. And I also did want to acknowledge that Ms. Cho is with us here this evening to sort of attend her first MVTC meeting. And so I encourage everybody to go over and introduce themselves and say hello. She's with the team from VRE tonight. And as the current chair of VRE and the leader of the search committee, I just wanted to express how excited we are to welcome you. I appreciate all the support I had from my colleagues in this. It was truly a national search with a wildly impressive team of applicants. And we're very excited about Ms. Cho's leadership and what she'll bring to the position. So please reach out to her, connect, make her feel comfortable as she joins us here in Northern Virginia.
One detail yet, we haven't approved.
I want to do
I
that.
think Katie might have. I appreciate that. So, so the motion is to approve resolution number 2590. Is there a motion? I think it's been. Second. I think I was gonna ask Supervisor Briskman, how do you vote on the motion?
Aye.
Aye, great. And Senator Salim?
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much. All those in the room?
Aye.
Any no votes or abstentions? That item passes unanimously. Congratulations to everyone involved, especially welcome. So I just have one or two comments before we depart tonight. We have, and this is an example, we have really set us in motion to do very, very important things, whether it's the SJ 28 actions or this action, other actions taken for VRE that were really pointed to the future of not only maintaining but improving the service, the great service we already have to the public. So I want to thank everybody involved. None of this progress happens by accident. So thank you. So does anyone have anything else that they want to say?
No.
Sure.
Thank you. I think that was a
Second.
that was not a mo on the motion to adjourn. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Any discussion? Those on the see. I'm sure they do.